Yeah, the general consensus from pretty much everyone who's seen the video is that he was not sleeping. If for some reason you are not one of the 21 million people on TikTok who's already seen that video, you could click that comment and go back to it and watch it and then come back to this. But for everyone else, as this alludes, yes, we did find him. The victim says that is him 1,000%. Him being Dr. Wesley B. Vanderlyn, a trauma surgeon who's worked out of New Orleans but now resides in Florida. And this came from a lot of sources. There were a bunch of people who kind of just put it together on their own. But then I'd say I had upwards of like 15 people who know him, who've worked with him or had some sort of run-in with him, who came to me and said, like, I know who that is. And most of them didn't have good things to say. Now, of course, from there, I sought out images of him to show to the victim, which I did. But also there's other things like kind of the very distinctive wedding ring. And it's also kind of great when they're wearing the same sweater that they were wearing in the incident in photos on their Facebook page. And then I found his Twitter. And remember how she said that he was spouting all of this weird stuff about the pedophiles in DC and all of these like conspiracy theories that kind of align with like QAnon and whatnot? Well, he is definitely a fan of this guy. As far as QAnon's concerned, I mean, he thinks that Michael Flynn, Mr. QAnon himself, should be director of the CIA. And he had some generally shitty posts like mocking Jimmy Carter the day he died. But one that kind of stood out to me was where there was an article about how a flight attendant on SpaceX claimed that Elon Musk had exposed himself to her and propositioned her for sex and that they had paid her off to silence her. And he didn't believe her. He called bullshit on that. Truly shocking that this guy didn't believe women. Now, I had told you all that I was going to send his wife the video, and I did. I sent it to her on Messenger, and I'm fairly certain that she saw it, because while she didn't respond to me, for one, she made her account on Facebook private after I did re-message her and say, you should probably make your account private because I'm going to post this video. And honestly, she wasn't there and didn't participate, so she doesn't have to have a bunch of people telling her about her husband. I mean, she can see for herself. But also, she's listed as the president of this company, where he is the doctor for them at MedExclusive. And if you go to their website and scroll down to the bottom, you'll see this Meet Dr. Vanderlyn. If you click on that today, it looks like this. The page seems to have disappeared. But before I sent the video, it looked like this. So, definitely doing some scrubbing. Also, I went ahead and sent him the video on Twitter and asked if he cared to comment, and he didn't respond to me either. But he did change his username and make his account private, which is probably a good idea, because while what we see in this video here is disturbing, there's some stuff that was on his Twitter that could maybe prove problematic, especially when it comes to like his medical license. Like when you make posts like this that seem like perhaps you're biased against people who are Muslim, that you're pushing that Muslims are invading Europe and this has always been their thing. Or when you share like vaguely transphobic stuff like this, claiming that Michelle Obama is actually a man, and despite the fact there's community notes calling that out as bullshit, you're kind of doubling down on it. Or when you share posts claiming that Barack Obama was our first gay president, and it doesn't seem that you're calling Michelle Obama a man or you're calling Barack Obama gay as compliments, which means you seem to think that that's some sort of detractor or some sort of insult, that could be problematic. Also, as a medical professional, sharing memes that joke about and mock AIDS victims, not really a great look. When you're a trauma surgeon and people's lives are in your hands, usually they don't want to worry about whether or not they think you may not work as hard for someone based on their religion or their sexual orientation, etc. Not saying that he's doing that, but this kind of stuff can call it into question. Now, the victim has his information, and she's turning it over to Delta and the FBI, and I truly hope something comes from that, and I will keep you posted. In the meantime, I just don't understand why people who are like this are like this. Looking at the profile like on Facebook, seems like you have a pretty great life. Family trips to Greece and to Italy. I mean, living the dream. And yet, all the people who reached out to me who know him are like the most common description: creep, aggressive, abrasive, making for uncomfortable work environments with the topics that he would talk about. Sounds a lot like that loud phone conversation. What is there to be upset about, man? What is there to be so angry and obnoxious about, other than you've just been able to get away with it and do whatever you want? I think that time's coming to an end.